PNN Radio here in a second. We're live here on PNN Radio coming up on 4, if that would be good with you there, Colin. Colin, bring me up on 4. There you go, yeah. Live here at PNN Radio coming to you. There we go. Talking sports with JB and Bob. One more time. Guys, it's great to be here. And, man, do we have a ton to talk about. Here today. Sorry about the late delay and everything, but it's an exciting day because we met with TOV9 next Friday. Not this coming, but next Friday. Our Potters will be going in action against Weirton, and it will be TOV9 Game of the Week. So we had to go down there and do some coordination of camera placements and all that kind of fun stuff, but always fun to see the guys on the big screen in the living room. That's fun.
Should be. It's a good time for any time you get on the Game of the Week. That means you're doing something right, and Coach Ludwig and the Potters are on the right track. Hopefully they can continue it, and I think they got a shot at the playoffs. So good luck to them, and hopefully we get a big win this week on homecoming, and next week the Game of the Week.
It'll be a blast. A lot of games of the week happening here with us. Holy cow, man. Volleyball action here at Potter Fieldhouse has been nonstop, man. Nonstop. JB, what are you hearing through the grapevine about Liverpool's play? Is it looking solid?
Yeah, they're playing pretty well. They didn't peak early. They won some games, and they went on the road and lost a tough one to Claymont, who's pretty good. But the fact that they went up to Canton last week and won a quad with North Canton, Hoover, and Orville and Louisville, and then came back and won that big match at Oak Glen. Oak Glen had one loss, and our girls went over and beat them in 3. And then we had the OVAC semis last night here. Beat St. Clairsville after we won the Buckeye 8 last week down there. And, now they'll play for an OVAC championship on Saturday at OU Eastern, I believe.
That'll be a game and a half. Boy, Salem was into town.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Salem. That was another big one. Salem only had a loss or two, and Liverpool wins in 4. Another great match. So they're not ducking anybody. They're going out and playing, and they're doing what they're supposed to do, and it seems like they're healthy. They're at the right time. They don't have a lot of injuries or anything, and good luck to them. They'll host a tournament game here next Tuesday against Minerva, and you win that game, then you're going to host another tournament game on Saturday.
Right. It's going to be very, very busy.
East Liverpool was seeded second in the tournament, sectional tournament.
Yep.
All right. Indian Valley was seeded first. What kind of record does Indian Valley have?
They're comparable. I think they may have 2 losses maybe, but here's an interesting fact for Potter fans that might appreciate this. Do you know how the seeding goes for the tournament draw? We have what they call a super district, sectional district, because there's like 21 or 22 teams in. They don't have meetings anymore. You do it all online. You vote, your top seeds online, and then you have a conference call, and then boom, they go by the points of what you accomplished by where your seed is. So Liverpool seeded second with 217 votes. Indian Valley seeded first with 219 votes, and Claymont was third. But interesting fact, if Beaver Local would have voted for East Liverpool as the 1 seed, we'd have been the 1 seed, but they voted for Indian Valley.
Wow.
And, it's online. I mean, I'm not telling anything anybody else couldn't find.
Right.
But that's, the voting's online through the OHSAA, and you can look and see where people vote. So why they went the other way. And then after they voted for Indian Valley as the 1 seed, they went in their bracket. So, I don't know how, what that means, but
It's a little confusing.
Yeah, I mean, you vote for one team, and I mean, you lose to one team twice, and I could be wrong, but I don't know whether they saw Indian Valley play or not this year. But Claymont beat East Liverpool at Claymont early in the year, during the week. It was a midday, or it was a Tuesday or Wednesday, and long bus trip. No excuses. Claymont's got a decent team. Claymont jumps up. They played some people. They lost 4. They lost to New Philadelphia, who beat Liverpool in the district finals last year.
Yeah.
Whether by beating them or controversy, whatever, but they still beat them. And They played them. That's one of their losses. Played Fort Fry last week in a game. Fort Fry's a top seed in Division IV. They're in the top 4 or 5 in the state. Good team, and they lost to them in 5 matches, 5 sets. So I mean, they went out and played people. So Claymont had a few more losses than Liverpool and Indian Valley, but
they're not dodging anybody
no,
and earned
no.
that type of respect.
And then there's John Glenn sitting there. John Glenn was the 4th seed, I believe, and they're pretty good. I mean, John Glenn's got a kid that's going to somewhere in the ACC to play volleyball. He's about 6 foot tall, a hitter, and it should be a good sectional district. Hopefully, we get to the district. They'll have 2, and they'll be like co-district champions. So you should see if Liverpool, Claymont, Indian Valley, and John Glenn get there. That'll make for some pretty good volleyball.
That'll be some great volleyball.
Yeah.
Getting back to the vote, you would think that neighboring schools would kind of stick together, help each other out.
Yeah.
But
Well,
not in this case.
Same
Right.
thing happened in soccer.
Same thing.
Similar. We go to the sectional drawing, and we beat Beaver Local once for the OVAC championship, tie them during the season, and they vote for themselves over Liverpool. Liverpool have a similar record. Liverpool's 1 game ahead. Liverpool's seeded 7th, Beaver Local seeded 3rd.
Wow.
So the when you go up on the board where you want to go, Coach Kinsey at Liverpool, he gets a chance to go on the board. He jumped right on Beaver Local.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. And I guess wasn't real happy about how the vote goes, but how you beat somebody and tie with them, and then you're the 7th seed and they're the 3rd seed. I don't know.
And soccer's looking at the senior night happening this coming Saturday, following our homecoming game against Edison.
Will be senior
Or
day.
excuse me, not Edison, but Buckeye Local. Senior day.
Yeah.
Senior day, since the start of that match is going to be 12 noon down at Patterson Field following the homecoming game this week against Buckeye Local. So and it's against Beaver Local on senior night. So it's going to make it quite an interesting afternoon, I should say.
Hopefully our boys can keep their composure and not get upset too much about the draw and that, and think about playing
I agree.
soccer and taking care of business on the field.
Yeah, it's what they have to do. And not get so tied up in everything else.
Right.
Yep. So a lot of action up here on the hill, and hats off to the great team efforts that's been going on. Girls tennis has been playing very well. Last night, the Salem match wasn't concluded. They were kicking it back and forth up at Thompson Park, so I did not get any feedback on the outcome of that match, and I'm not even sure if they're able to get all of the matches in due to the lateness of that match getting started. It was getting pretty dark at that time, and not being able to play under the lights.
From what I read in the paper, Liverpool won 3-0, and they didn't conclude the doubles matches. It was too dark. That's
So
what it said in the
they did
paper.
go 3-0 because
Yeah.
normally you'll have to
Yeah.
be able to get in a doubles match inside of it. They must have finished that last single match just before they called it,
Right.
because they were just beginning. Both singles were still going on when I walked out of the park up there. So we got a lot of fall sports happening and a lot of activity for the Potters. Loving it. And into fall we go. Fall ball, baby. October. Rolling right around. Major League Baseball saw a lot of things happen. And gentlemen, you guys owe me $1 each. Both of you. I told you. Cleveland staggered their way into those finals thinking, how did we get here? We don't know. But we won a couple games. We're just figuring it out as we go through. That didn't work. Cleveland just absolutely ran into a brick wall and couldn't find their way out of that. And it saddens me because it's a very good team.
Yeah.
A very good team. But there was no way they were going to find their way out of that series.
Again, I must remind you, the last time Cleveland Indians won a World Series, 1948, and I was privileged to watch the 5th game of that World Series.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
dating
Why didn't they send you a
myself.
ticket?
Why did they send me a
If
ticket?
they didn't send you a ticket to this, if you'd have been at these games, I'm sure they would have won. You know?
I was going to say,
What's
I thought he
Cleveland
watched
thinking?
it from his playpen, but he was there.
I was there.
Oh, man. 1948, able to watch that 5th game of that series, huh?
Right. The Indians lost, and then they went to Boston Braves the next day and won the 6th game and won the series. That was their last one.
And you know how they celebrated that win. They moved to Atlanta.
They moved to Atlanta.
That was actually a few years after that when they went down there. But you're Boston Red Sox. JB, taking one to the chin, walking into a game and saying, okay, what's going to happen here? And explain that incredible double-digit win over the Yankees 2 games ago.
Well, there's a lot of controversy now about the Yankees starting pitcher that night. Severino was out in the bullpen, and you see a replay of it, and the pitching coach is going, hey, the game starts at 7:40. He's like 10 minutes out, and he hadn't even started to throw yet. When he comes out of the bullpen for his warm-up session, comes on, first 2 innings pitches pretty well, retires 6 in a row.
Right.
And then the 3rd inning, dam started leaking a little bit, and in the 4th inning it broke loose.
Yes, it did.
So, Boston was able to gain some momentum. They,
momentum. That was an avalanche.
But Duff and I don't know if he'll appreciate it or not, but how many ex-Pirates are playing in the playoffs and doing well?
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Brock Holt the other night for the Red Sox, the game we're talking about, hits for the cycle, first time in the history of the playoffs that someone hits for the cycle, ex-Pirate.
Right.
Steve Pearce made a great play last night to save the game for the Red Sox, ex-Pirate. Neil Walker played for the Yankees last night, started, took one for the
Able to get
team,
one, right.
knocked in a run, ex-Pirate. McCutchen didn't start the game, started the other 3, and, contributed for the Yankees' success down the stretch, ex-Pirate. And then Garrett Cole for the Astros pitched a great game against the Indians last Saturday, struck out 12 in 7 innings, and
Didn't walk any.
didn't walk anybody. Another ex-Pirate. So,
And there's one for playing for the Dodgers. He got a key hit.
David Freese. Yeah, you're
Freese.
right, Duff. I saw that stat the other day. He's the leading playoff RBI guy since 2011. He's knocked in 33 runs in the playoffs.
Yeah, he goes back to St. Days
With the
of
Cardinals.
St. Louis, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was the MVP in that one series, right?
Right.
Didn't in the World Series.
Right.
So, the ex-Pirates, they just keep, they go somewhere else, and they seem to do pretty well.
Well, it was kind of funny. I think it was Freese said with a smile on his face as he was leaving the Pirates in an interview, and he said, it's always great working with a team that takes winning seriously and wants to move, but he had this smile on his face as though he was saying it with a little bit of sarcasm in there. But the truth of the matter is, there isn't one of those players that have showed up for the Pirates and said, I don't want to win. I don't want to give you all I have to try and win.
Well,
And when they go to another team that has got a supporting cast, by golly, it works. And a front office that is pushing to go deep into the series, it works.
You ever notice how those guys leave and they go to another? They just fit right in.
Exactly.
They don't make any waves. And I think and Duff will probably know better this than me. It was like in spring training. Didn't Freese come out and question what the Pirates were doing, whether they wanted to win?
Right. What they were doing in the clubhouse, how the general feeling, was there any chemistry to the club? That's what makes it. So.
Yeah, you don't have to have the best talent, but if you can go out and you play together, you can overcome a lot of adversity, and
in a heartbeat.
Yep. So
it just takes the fact that you have a front office that wants to win by making the right decisions instead of losing key players at the exact wrong time.
Yeah.
That's the part that drives me a little bit crazy with it. So here we go into the series. JB, when do we get started? Who's going against who?
Friday, the NL starts. The Dodgers are playing the Brewers starting at Milwaukee. And then Saturday, the American League Division Series gets started with Houston coming to Boston. First 2 games at Boston, first 2 games at Milwaukee. And then they flip-flop and they go to the other team for 3 games and come back for the last 2 at the home field. So
your outcome?
Oh man, I'm rooting like heck for the Red Sox. You know that. I'm a diehard. Houston's playing their best baseball at the right time. Again, I told you last week about the Yankee series. Chris Sale seems to be healthy. I think whoever wins the first game Saturday night wins the series.
You think so?
You got Sale and Verlander going. I think whoever wins the first game wins the series.
Okay.
And I think it's a long series. I don't think it's 4 or 5 games. I think it's 6 or 7.
Okay.
So, and then in the other side, I'll let Duff answer that one. He's more the National League expert than I am.
Who you got, Duff?
I picked the Dodgers last week on this show.
He did.
Yes,
That's
you
right.
did.
So I have to stick with them. I like to see Boston win the American League side and Boston and the Dodgers in the in the finals. So
That's a nice pick.
That's,
It's a losing pick, but it's a nice pick.
it's kind of hard for me to say Boston, but
Yeah.
I said
You did say that. Yeah, I heard that. I did hear that. I got to stick with Milwaukee. I said it from the beginning of it. That team needs to pay, as well as many of the other teams need to pay, a thank you to the Pirates for providing a lot to them, but Milwaukee especially. The Pirates were able to exploit weaknesses the minute that Milwaukee relaxed. And to me, they tightened up those weaknesses. I love Milwaukee's play right now.
Well,
they're in the zone.
You know,
they're in the zone.
they talk about these small market teams, and Milwaukee's one of them. But they go out and they got a chance to win. They're going for it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they
Right.
picked up Masakis from Kansas City.
Yeah.
They got the kid at first of the year. It's going to probably be the MVP in the National League, Yelich from the Marlins, and gave up hardly anything, you know. But, you know, it seems like, and he's not making a lot of money, but it seems like the Pirates can't make those deals.
When you have a goal in mind, and it isn't, hey, we're going to win a series. The goal in mind is we need a winning team. We have to act at the right time. Let's keep our eyes open and let's stay vigilant. When you make that decision and you commit to that, then you're able to do those things. When you can pick up Yelich and not have to give up so much. That's how you make it happen, especially in this time and age when everybody's throwing around money like they're printing it in the basement.
Monopoly money.
Except for the Pirates, that monopoly money, right. So what that boils down to is plain and simple. Milwaukee has made the right deal at the right time. They got the right chemistry, the right team together, and they're in a zone. Watch out for that zone. I love the series. I think the Boston series against Houston is going to be a great one, but I don't think it's going to compare to the fireworks of the Dodgers and the Brewers, because that is going to be a this for that one run type of game every game all the way through the series. I love it. I think it's going to be great.
Duffy will attest to this. It's like the Dodgers have the best pitching, but the Brewers have the best bullpen. If the Brewers can get it to a 7th, 8th, 9th inning game with their bullpen, they're going to win.
They'll take it.
And if it doesn't, if the Dodgers starting pitching is as good as it was in Atlanta, then, you know, and they get the lead, like for Kershaw and these other guys, you know, they're going to be hard to beat. So I think it comes down to, you know, the old adage, you know, good pitching beats good hitting, and, you know, whoever pitches better is going to win that series.
That'll be it.
Well, look at the Houston pitching. Verlander, Cole.
Oh, there's another Pirate. We forgot.
yeah.
Not
I was
Cole,
just gonna
but
say,
Charlie Morton.
You're
Morton
talking
and Morton.
Pirates West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charlie Morton. There's another Pirate that's in there. So there's 8 or 9 Pirates that are still playing.
Their pitching's, I mean, the pitching in the series is going to be just tremendous.
Yes, it's going to be
all four teams.
It's going to be a fantastic thing. But I'm just telling you, I don't know why. Brewers have it for me. I'm going to take those guys to ride it all the way to hoisting that trophy.
You like that little guy that slides down the slide when they hit a home run. That's why you root for the Brewers.
I applied for that job. It's in Milwaukee too.
Yeah.
You know what could be wrong with that? A sliding board in a home of all these breweries.
What's his name? Sudsy or something like that?
I think it's Sudsy, and you get all the free peanuts and pretzels you want up in Milwaukee. It's simple as that. Plain and simple. You talk about free. The free falling has finally stopped in the NFL with a couple of the teams, except for the Falcons. But we watched the Steelers put a little bit of an end to it. We watched Drew Brees set an all-time NFL record on Monday night, happen over the weekend. And this National Football League, the play has really, really amazed me so far with the fact that it's down to the running game, passing game. It's nuts and bolts type stuff. No more the gigantic gimmick play or the big stretch play down the line, winning the games over and over again. Instead, we're back to some fundamental football that's happening out there.
All but the officials.
Officials
are taking the spotlight.
So what's your call on the fact about Tomlin making that comment about the officials, that it's costing people their jobs, and it's costing games? With the officiating, and he leveled a pretty harsh criticism against the NFL.
Committee. He's on the committee.
Yeah.
He's on the rules committee.
And he said, we've got to get this right.
Yeah.
We messed up. We got to do a better job.
Yeah.
Was he covering himself, or you think he's honest about criticizing the NFL?
I believe he was. He had every right to. Every coach.
I mean, penalties they've been getting. I mean, heck, I saw the one Sunday. J.J. Watt comes by and he just slides by the quarterback, and because they said he attempted to go low, they gave him a flag. Never even touched him.
Didn't touch him.
Didn't
I mean,
touch him
God
at all.
Almighty.
So there's something that has to be looked at. Does the NFL pause, bring everybody together and talk to them? Do they let it play out and then make official changes later? No pun intended with official changes, but
Yeah.
Do they do it then? Or do they try to do something right here mid-season and say, all right, fellas, here's the deal. Here's how we're going to call this, and here's how we have to see this.
I mean, it's to the point where it's in all sports. I mean, you watched the game the other night, the Yankee Red Sox game. Even though it was a laugher, it was 16-1. The guy that's umpiring first base, he had 5 plays that they reviewed, and 3 of them got overturned. I mean, how the heck you work in the major leagues and you missed 3 out of 5? That's not very good. And then he had the plate last night.
He had to plate last
He had
night.
the plate last night, and he's suing Major League Baseball because he thinks it's the reason he's not getting the bigger games, even though he got a playoff series, is because of he's Latin descent and from Cuba or whatever. And it's like, come on, you stink. You're not getting games because you stink.
Just got to be in the.
Here's an example. Who's the linebacker from Green Bay Packers? In 12 seasons, he had been penalized 3 times in 12 seasons.
Clay Matthews.
Clay Matthews, all right. This year, in the first 4 games, he gets 3 penalties for roughing the quarterback.
And they were bad. All 3 of them were bad.
Yeah.
Bad calls.
2 of them in the same game.
That's a good example.
Yeah.
Of what's been going on, and then what's happening now.
So you're looking to protect the players, number one. You're looking at keeping integrity of the game and make sure it has a good outcome. But when it's left down to just the officiating and only those officials on the field, and they suddenly are being scrutinized, the teams are going to complain, or the fans are going to complain, or the players are going to complain. And it's usually a team that ends up on the losing end. But when you watch a shellacking that the Steelers poured onto the Falcons to be followed up by a coach saying we need to make changes, that tells me not only because he's the coach on the winning side of that team, but he's part of that rules committee.
Mm-hmm.
He sees that there is something inherently wrong with the officiating of it, and I think it's got to go back to the integrity part. Stick by your guns. If you are the commissioner, if you are the rules committee, quit acquiescing or trying to placate something. Stick with what the rule is for fair play. And if you're looking to protect a player or looking to stop sorts of injuries, then implement a rule that is a rule that helps protect it. Not speed up the game or add more excitement or make more TV highlights.
I've been sitting there thinking about this, and you watch games, and I watch the college games a lot, and, the targeting rule. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, here's my idea. You get called for targeting, okay? You get a 15-yard penalty. You don't get thrown out of the game unless the kid you targeted leaves. If he leaves, like he has a concussion, you're out of the game. If he's out of the game, you're out of the game. If he misses 4 weeks, you miss 4 weeks. And then you clean that stuff up. He still gets the penalty, but don't eject him unless the other guy leaves. If you hurt the other guy, and you hit him with the shot to the head, boom, you're out. And if he's out for 3 weeks, like I said, you're out for 3 weeks. And, they can take care of themselves. They'll know. Don't go in high.
Right.
And
the implementation of any rule takes a little bit of time, a little bit of rigging that all out to make sure it gets fairly implemented. But, hey, the thing about it is you are protecting players, and there has to be a penalty with it.
Well, I understand that. I'm just saying that's fine. But you got these guys out there like the guy the Steelers are playing this week. He's coming back off a suspension. Perfect. The linebacker.
Right.
He's coming back off of 4 weeks. You think he's not going to try and rip somebody's head off? And he's a multiple offender.
Oh, massive.
Yeah.
I mean,
if
that's
he
just an
somebody,
epic story of insanity.
Yeah, and
when
he
you deal with him
somebody,
and his attitudes.
He sends somebody out of the game, then he goes.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
Right.
Now, if you get a good clean hit and somebody goes out because you knocked the wind out of them, yeah, you're fine. But if you got called for targeting and you hit to the head, boom, you're out.
That brings us to something that Bob and I wanted to report to you, and that was our assignment over the weekend. We traveled up to Kent, Ohio.
Game of the week
Game
on
of the
ESPN 3.
Game of the week for ESPN 3.5.
Yeah,
exactly.
ESPNU.
Yep. So we're there. Kent and OU going at it at Kent homecoming. Bob, I was pleasantly surprised with the game. Didn't start off that way. I was pretty upset with what was going on.
You stunk for 3 quarters, and then they finally got with it.
They got with
Scored
it.
with
I was really disappointed they didn't have Duff have the coin toss. I thought he was going to flip the coin like he does at the volleyball games.
But you scored with 128 to go and come out a 1-point winner.
Made it a lot better ride home.
It sure did.
Did Brewer pay up?
Not yet. I'm after both of them.
Better look out.
Darryl and Hall. Yeah.
Darryl-
You don't have to make a phone call to Luigi or anything on that, do you?
No, he's got Lou to take care
Oh,
of.
he got a little bit of muscle
Lou
down
and
there. All right,
Manny.
he's good.
Yeah.
He's good. So they made the Kent team look really good, but I do have to give props to that quarterback for Kent. What a great player, heads up player. Made a lot of something out of absolute nothing at times.
Well, they played well. Who did they played somebody, one of the out of the top 5 or the Power 5.
Ole Miss
Was it Ole Miss?
Yeah.
Somebody they played pretty
took
well.
them into the final quarter.
Yeah, had the lead or was tied for a long part of the game, and Akron, same thing. Akron went to Iowa State and played them tough and almost won the game, and then
They beat Northwestern.
Yes,
that's
they
who
did.
they beat, Northwestern. That's what Akron did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So the MAC kind of making a good
they
stance
are.
with it.
I mean, it's a competitive league. They're
Yeah, it
getting
is.
they're getting those guys that the Division Ones or the upper echelon teams more or less. They're on the bubble and they get their other guy and this guy's available, so they're going to the MAC schools and they're it's not a bad league. It's not a bad league.
Yeah,
they take turns of beating each other, and that's the thing that stinks because
Yeah.
you'll get to the playoffs and one team will be 7-5 and the other team will be 8-4 or 9-3, and you look at it and say, these teams aren't bad, but they beat each other. And it's hard to go on the road and win in that league.
Yes,
so
it is.
for your guys to win the other day, that's an accomplishment.
Your Kent State quarterback's transfer from Auburn.
Came in from Auburn.
Yeah.
Well, that's he's got some promise on him. Very, very.
Oh, he's an
very good.
underclassman?
Yes, he is. I believe he's junior.
Oh, okay.
Junior transfer. Is that right, Bob?
Yeah.
Junior transfer?
Yep.
It's either junior transfer or they redshirted him at Auburn for a
I got
year,
you.
which has him in there as a senior, but has one more year eligibility. So look out. Kent State's going to have a couple weapons coming their way. Your top 10 in football, a few things changed a little bit this week. JB, anything that surprised you in that NCAA placement?
The fact that Oklahoma got beat, and then they got beat, and then they got rid of their defensive coordinator, which was probably a long time coming. The only reason I think that guy had a job was because of his brother. But, Oklahoma goes to Texas. Well, not goes to Texas. They play there every year. Red River Valley or Red River rivalry. Cotton Bowl. Half the tickets are to Texas, half the tickets are to Oklahoma, and Texas State Fair. Great game. I watched the game. Great game. Then I had to switch over. Almost missed the end of it. Go watch your game at 3:30. But it was a great game and an iffy call. Again, an iffy call. Oklahoma came all the way back from 21 down, tie the game with under 3 minutes left, and there's a pass interference call on 3rd and 12, and it was iffy. And I guarantee you, you look at it, and
Call it one way 1 minute, call it the other way
call
the
it
next.
the whole game, and then you call it when it decides the game. Gives them a first down at the 40, and they may run a couple plays, and then the kicker kicks a 40-yard field goal with 9 seconds left, whatever it was, and they win by 3. It was a great game.
Yeah, Oklahoma would stoop to no level to win.
Yeah, and now he'll be stooping out the door.
Oh, Lordy.
So, but
help me, please.
there's some a little bit of jumble in the top 10. LSU gets beat. Nothing. They went to Florida. Florida's a decent team, and then those teams are going to start knocking each other off. I think Georgia goes to LSU and plays this week.
Yes.
So I mean,
There's going to be one of the tougher games
Yeah.
that we're going to see. This
Yeah,
is
they're
going to
gonna-
be a real headbanger.
And I think LSU's got Alabama next week. And, so, I mean, teams are going to start playing. Michigan plays Penn State next week. Penn State's got to go to Michigan and play. Michigan's playing pretty well. One loss to my team. And since ran the table, and they're playing pretty well. They got Wisconsin.
I'm going to tip my hat to Franklin and his boys out of State College on that one. And I think they're going to come out with a huge chip on their shoulder to prove that they are not going to take one more loss inside of the Big Ten. Okay. That's
I'll
a
take
feeling I got.
I'll take Michigan for that $1 I owe you. Double or nothing.
Double or nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's next week.
That's
so.
next week. That's
But,
not this coming
We'll
Saturday.
talk a little bit about the Irish. They're playing pretty well. They went on the road to a really hostile environment last week at Virginia Tech and come out with a win. Played pretty well, steady. First half, played, not to lose, and the second half came out and
Decided to put a little bit on the table.
showed their will and, started running the ball and, picked up some chunks and, they're not bad. They're not Alabama good or anything. Don't get me wrong. I'd never say that, but they're good enough to get to the Final Four.
Oh, fantastic. Well, guys, that's going to just about bring us to the end of this time here, but I wanted to offer one thing up for you guys, and as well as our listeners out there and viewers, while you guys are taking a look at this, I want you guys to think about who you would vote for or who you would say are the 3 best players out of the last 50 years. Now, why do I choose 50 years? Because in 1968 here on 100 Main Boulevard, this new facility was built. It became a new building for the high school to house all of its programs, especially a brand new field house that to this date is still one of the best gymnasiums I've ever been in high school ball. Even a couple college stadiums, it's a little better than that. So out of those 50 years, who would be the top 3 athletes that we'd go with? I want to challenge you guys that one for next week.
From East Liverpool?
From East Liverpool.
Okay.
That have come out of the program. Any sport since the high school decided to move up here on the hill and house its athletic department, everything up here, short of the football field being down at Patterson Field. And track, of course, was run down there for a while until Mangano track was built. We're going to be spotlighting a lot of those advances and the changes of East Liverpool athletics since the building came into effect here on the hill in Liverpool. So I'm going to question you guys about your top 3 picks and get with you next week and see who you would go with. And if our listeners want to vote with that, you can get a hold of us at PNN_radio on Twitter. You can also email us at PNN. And you can also put some comments here below our video on YouTube. So make sure you add to it. You already got your votes down.
I already got mine.
I don't even want to see them.
You're not going to see them.
I don't want to see them.
Because then you'll pick mine.
That's exactly right.
You don't want to hear them either.
I don't want to hear them. There's no thought going on there. There's no win for the Windows.
And I went to multiple sports too. I went to football, I went to basketball, and I went to track and field.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So we're stepping out and heading into this coming weekend. We have a homecoming, big festivities down at Patterson Field, going against Buckeye Local, having a really rough year this year in football. Followed up with Senior Day down at Patterson Field, East Liverpool and Beaver Local out on the field with soccer. And volleyball has won last night and will be moving Saturday down to OU Eastern to play. And, John, who do they face off against down there? Oak Glen.
Yeah,
for the OVAC.
Return visit to Oak Glen and meeting from a week ago. They played at Oak Glen a week ago. Now they'll get down to the OVAC and play for a championship on Saturday.
How much fun it is to have all 3 of these programs doing so well in volleyball. That's a blast.
And winter sports right around the corner.
Yeah.
Next week we'll be doing this show. We'll be less than 2 weeks away from starting winter sports.
That's just crazy.
Right. It is.
Flying by. Slow it down, Bob.
Let's try.
Any parting words?
I'm good. It's like you said, it's a good time. The Red Sox start on Saturday, and
that's why Bob's happy. The Red Sox start on Saturday.
Hope for that. The Irish are rolling. I hope they can get another win against Pitt on Saturday. And your OU Bobcats are at home this week, right?
No, they're on the road.
Oh, they again?
On the road.
On the road again. Willie Nelson.
Yep.
On the road again.
Back home on the 20th for the homecoming.
Who are they playing? Buck Local?
Yeah, not Buckeye Local. No, they're not playing Buckeye Local. I think it's Western Michigan.
Oh, okay.
All right. For all of us here high atop the hill, 100 Main Boulevard, home of the Potter News Network, this is Talking Sports with JB and Bob.